Radio, joepags.com, also Newsmax TV, the Joe Pags Show on your radio and your television. Really glad to have you here. Really glad to have back Brad Parscale. He is the campaign manager for Trump 2020. Brad, how are you, man?
Really good, Joe. Nice to be on your show again.
Yeah, it was also he was the digital director of Trump 2016 and was extremely successful. Man, there's so much going on right now, and we just had yesterday the 500th day in office by President Donald Trump, and man, what he's done economically, just actually more than economically, but that's what we're all focusing on right now because we worry about our wallets and our pocketbooks and our bank accounts, has been startling. Talk to me about the accomplishments in the first 500 days.
Well, yeah, I mean, this has been a great 500 days. And one of the things we're actually introducing just today is promiseskept.com. And that's a website where actually you can go on right now and look through the hundreds of accomplishments that President Trump and his administration with this Republican Congress has gone for us. And when you look at that, you're going to see just how many things really done. You know, Joe, one of the things that really happened with this administration and with our campaign is the mainstream media just doesn't talk about these accomplishments. They want to get to whatever tantalizing thing they can get to, and they just don't work through these. And there's so many things. I mean, turbocharged economy, ample jobs, solid job security. He's fighting right now for American trade. These kind of things are important. And that's just on the economy side. And this website has over 14 categories and hundreds of items you can go through to see what they have accomplished.
It's Brad Parscale. He was the digital director for Trump 2016. He's the campaign manager for Trump 2020. Yeah, Brad, you knew going in to the election in 2016 that he had a really, really good chance. In fact, I think the Friday before you felt very confident that he was going to win. The media today tries to pretend like he's failing. Of course, his approval rating is much higher than they ever thought it would be. And I don't think middle America is listening to them. But for those who are listening to the media, how do you sift through that and make sure that voters know what he's gotten done?
Well, I think that's definitely part of the problem is they like to push out there that he's not doing well. But the truth, the fact is his ratings have never, and approval ratings have never been higher.
Right.
He's actually crossing the thresholds of past where he was at even election night.
Yeah.
And the reason that is because people's personal economies are getting better. They're feeling about national security is getting better. And overall, they're feeling like things are on the right track. And as they do that, they're starting to recognize the Trump administration is the reason for that. Now, the way we have to get through that is to fight on the internet. I mean, as you know, earlier this week or last month, I was out there fighting, against Facebook and Twitter and blocking conservative voices. Now we can publish websites. We can do so much more in the modern era now because of our technology to showcase these things. And now we can just bring it directly to the people. And so we'll be showcasing this website and pushing it across social media so people can actually see. The mainstream media can't block this. They can try not to talk about it, but we'll get to the people, and because of the power of social media.
The media, the left, they want him one and done. So what does the focus have to be when it comes to 2020?
Well, right now, the number one thing is for us to focus on 2018 and get our voters to show up. And that's it's a duty. We got to get out there and we got to vote, and voting's so important. Look, right now, the red tide is increasing. President Trump and all the things we've done are doing better and better. People are starting to feel that. So you're starting to see that increases. I mean, just look what's happened in California where it looked like these 5 races were going to go towards Democrats. Now it looks like they're almost all toss-ups or possibly going our way.
Right.
And if things go the way I think they might go tonight in California, I think you'll see that, this wave is not there. And I think there'll be a big success. And Trump's accomplishments are starting to show through the cracks.
It's Brad Parscale, campaign manager, Trump 2020. And the new website is what, promiseskept.com?
It's promiseskept.com. Yep.
Beautiful. I want people to go there. That's a huge deal. And for anybody who's arguing with you on the left, who's a friend or a coworker or a family member, send them to the website, and it's got hundreds of details about exactly what this president has accomplished. How much of a gauge is 2018 going to be, Brad? I mean, again, the left, the media, Hollywood, music industry, they're all pushing to get a turnover in the House and the Senate. And I think the media is pretending as if it's a done deal. But then again, they pretended Hillary Clinton was a done deal too. How big a deal is this going to be to gauge the following 2 years?
Well, I really think what it's about getting our voters to show up. And so, if we get our voters engaged, I think that they're out there and they're going to have us hold the House and I think actually increase our number of seats in the Senate.
Wow.
And I think if that happens, you're going to see a very successful next couple of years. But again, it's about telling the voters they got to show up, and they can't just be settled by getting Donald Trump elected 2 years ago. They need to show up, and they need to continue to elect the Republican House because the president can't do it without them. He needs congressional help to pass most of the things that we need.
Has he done exactly what he needs to do to beat down the ridiculous things about how he's a racist or misogynist or whatever? Because all you do is have the lowest black unemployment ever. He's got very high-level women, blacks, Hispanics in his administration. He obviously is employed for 30, 40, 50 years, everybody of every background, every walk of life. I don't think he's ever said a negative thing about somebody who's gay, but they keep on acting like he's this big, giant bigot. Brad, is the right strategy just to have him keep on doing what he's doing because everybody's benefiting?
Well, I do think you see right now the highest or lowest, African American unemployment, the lowest Hispanic unemployment. These things and the actions of the Trump administration are directly affecting their unemployment. And the most important thing is President Trump is working for everyone.
Yeah.
And so you see this. And look, when they can't fight his agenda items, they can't fight the successes, they turn to, this kind of identity politics.
Right.
And President Trump is fighting for everyone. It's clearly shown that way, and I think it's clearly shown across all of these metrics.
It's Brad Parscale, Trump 2020. Brad, I'm wondering, do you worry about how much people take the media at their word? I think you and he and the campaign and the administration have done a very good job of shooting holes in the media and how really filled with fake news they are. But at the same time, people still get up in the morning and watch these shows, get up on Sunday morning and watch these shows. Are you concerned about that? Or do you know that people are going to vote with their pocketbooks and the economy is so good right now and they know that it's his policies that did it? That's really what you've got to focus on.
Well, if you're just talking about pure metrics, we can see that CNN's numbers have plummeted since all of this. I think people are just are recognizing that they're just watching fake news most of the time, and it's just opinion TV all day, and it's about 5 or 6 media elites' opinions who are trying to coerce you into a direction. The same thing we had, which was, Obama policies that were driving our country into worse personal economy and worse national security. And I think that people are starting to recognize that. They're turning to other means, and they're starting to learn that not everything they read is and everything they see should be taken, 100%. And so what they're starting to do is hey, let me judge this towards some other things. And let me make up my own mind. And that's where sites like Promises Kept really help, because now you can go on, and these are just factual pages of government regulations and taxes and other things that have been changed, and that you can just see, and you can make your own determination. Have you been told the truth from the media?
Yeah, and that's the right way to do it. I mean, we now have checks and balances in place to keep the media in check way differently than we ever did before, because this president will call them out every single time. Brad Parscale, he's campaign manager, Trump 2020. New website is promiseskept.com. It's a great plethora of information about what this president has accomplished. Brett, going into it, you and I both knew that Donald Trump was a businessman. He was a famous guy, reality star, all that. And he also said what he meant what he said. But when you're a politician, you say what you want people to think, then you do something different when you get in office. Do you think that's the problem that Washington and the media really, really have deep down about this guy? He said he was going to do it, and now he's actually doing it, and that actually goes against what every politician ever has ever done.
Yeah, I think it's more than that also. I think, at the same time, he's not held hostage by special interests, big money and all these different things. He went there to give American people a voice. And that was his one goal. His goal was to listen to the American people and to fight for them every day. And I think that's a scary thing to the swamp people. The swamp people have all these other reasons, that to line their pockets or whatever other reason they want to. And I think President Trump went for just the American people. And I think that worried him, because they've had such a control over, as being a person who whole life had never really been to D.C. and finally saw how it operated. It's amazing, how just corrupt and swamp-like it was when I got here.
I know what he promised. I interviewed him 6 times before the election, and one time at the White House, and I appreciate you, I'm sure, put in a good word for me.
And you're welcome for that.
Yeah, I was thanking you. I am. I definitely owe it to you. I didn't think, and I'm a big supporter, I didn't think he can get this much done this fast. Are you surprised by the speed? Dude, we're a year and a half in. Look what he's done already.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was a little surprised, but then when I actually thought about the days out on the road with him, the nights at 11 p.m., sitting on his plane, I can barely keep my head up at 40 years old, and here comes, Donald Trump at 70 years old, say, let's go do another rally. And after really getting to spend that time with him, in the real heart of the war, that was happening, I could just see this man had endless energy to help this country. I hadn't been that political before President Trump, and I'd always cared and watched and listened, but I hadn't stood up and fight the same way he did, and he changed me. Watching him fight every day for the people and to understand that he had to give back because of all the great things that had happened to him, changed the way I thought, and I think that it's changing lots of Americans' thoughts that it's time to step up and and do something. And I think Trump has done that in the utmost way that's ever happened, I think, in history. I mean, he gave up the cush life, for one of, service.
And that's the thing. People don't consider that enough. The man's a billionaire many times over. All right, it's Brad Parscale, Trump 2020. Last question, and it's about the midterms, I guess eventually about 2020 as well. But in the midterm election, the Democrats, in their hopes to win the House and Senate, are running on this idea. We're going to raise your taxes. We're going to raise the taxes on your employers, who then will have less money to pay you and expand and hire more people. We're going to raise your taxes. You're going to be happy about that. We're going to add more people to government assistance. For some reason, that's another good thing. And, oh, by the way, we're going to impeach 45. Is that a winning combination in your thought process?
I don't see any Americans supporting getting their taxes going back up. This tax cut has driven, like, if you just look today, Boeing now another $100 million in investment into the United States government, country support, infrastructure, whatever they're doing, and they're going to educate people to be better workforce. All of these things, billions of dollars coming back into our economy, is adding job security and one of the best personal economies ever. So pretty much what the Democrats are saying is, if you would like your personal economy to be worse, please vote for us. We'd like you to have less stuff. We'd like you to not be able to support your child's ballerina lessons. We'd like you not to be able to make your car payment. We'd like you to have less security that tomorrow you're going to walk into work and your job's going to be secure. So we'd like you to sacrifice all those things so that we can have some more pet projects. And if that's the way the Democrats want to do it, I just think that's not a very good winning strategy.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. It's the campaign manager for Trump 2020, Brad Parscale, also a friend of mine. Brad, thanks a million.
No problem. Thanks, Joe.
Back after this. Yeah, you bet, man. Anytime, we're right here for you. Back after this in the Joe Pags Show. Stay here.